Welcome back to the Lanterne Rouge Cycling Podcast. Thanks for all of you who sent through your Spotify Wrapped, if that's where you listened, showing us your insane stats this year. Kind of crazy to see how many minutes everyone listens to. I guess we pump out a lot of content. So yeah, I want to say at the outset of this dsm-firmenich, Team dsm-firmenich PostNL preview. That's how that rolls off the tongue. Thanks to everybody that listened this year. But yeah, that's the team. Did I get it right, Benji? Is that
Yes,
the name?
You did get it right. So DSM and Firmenich were two companies that merged. That's why it became dsm-firmenich. And now PostNL is a new sponsor, which I'm pretty sure most of the posts I got in Belgium also came with PostNL when I was still living in Belgium.
You know why?
So,
Oh, no, I can't say. It's too early to be winding you up.
are you going to roast us because Belgium is supposed to be
I was going to make a
Dutch?
joke about Flanders being like a principality of...
It's too early. I'm not accepting it.
All right. We move on.
Australia is just a part of Britain anyway.
Kind of true. We got the flag. It's in the flag. So we haven't got rid of that yet. It's still not a republic. So it's not even a joke. See, you wouldn't have seen the Bob Catter. Him with the coins, the huge coin of King Charles going crazy. You would know who Bob Catter is. But I ain't talking about it any longer. Alrighty. We're off to a great start. DSM.
dsm-firmenich PostNL, my friend.
I'm not calling him. Like Rob Hatch, poor bastard. Like Rob Hatch looking down the barrel of what's he looking at next year. dsm-firmenich PostNL, Jumbo Visma, what are they called? Visma Lab. Visma Lisa bike. Yeah, there's some tough ones out there, but I guess you get used to them. Little Trek, that one does roll off the tongue. Maybe we should do a review of all the team names. How's the 2023 season, Benji? Not their best one.
Yeah, not their best one. 5 World Tour victories in total, of which 11 is their total victories, 5 World Tour. They won the Fluke TTT in the Vuelta, which I don't really value that highly, not gonna lie. They got it because of the weather, in my opinion. Dainese won 2 Grand Tour stages, is their most winning rider in World Tour. That's crazy to me. A Giro stage, a Vuelta stage.
Him.
They tried to get him to lead out Meidhofer in multiple stages, or at least they gave Meidhofer the
Tour of the
chance.
Alps, and there wasn't a sprint stage.
That's pure torture, man. Anyway, next to him, Andreas Leknesson was really good at the Giro. I remember a watch-along of that stage where Roglic launched Fossombrone. Yeah. And Leknesson was so bloody good there. And
he was good.
Maglia Rosa for multiple days, top 10 at the Giro eventually as well, which is... You can hold Maglia Rosa for a bit and be strong for like a week, but to be able to hold top 10 at the end of the race as well does show something, in my opinion. Romain Bardet, 5th at Tour de Suisse. I completely forgot about all his other results because that's where my notes ended, but I'm pretty sure he did something more than just 5th at Tour de Suisse this year. That's like a very short list of Romain Bardet achievements according to my notes. The thing is, like, he might quit in 2024 or at the end of 2024, so might be his last season. But what was the results in 2023?
Yeah, he was 7th also in Romandy, but he was helping Poole there a little bit. They were quite good, those two. I liked him in that race. And then Flèche, he came top 10. Paris-Nice 7th with 3 very consistent results, and Alpes Maritimes du Var 8th. So he just
mate.
I know. I like Bardet. I think he's a really eloquent person, and I like that he did move, even though it was not the end of his career, but he did push himself to move out of AG2R and try something different. So I really do respect and like Bardet, but he's not even the second tier, touching the second tier of GC contenders at the moment. He's maybe even not even the 3rd tier.
I agree, but I do feel like when it comes to the Giro, he was close to a few stage wins in my head. I think just behind Remco Evenepoel on one. Yeah, the Vuelta, I'm sorry, you're right. In the Vuelta, he was close to a few stage wins there. So I think if I had to, well, I'm already spoiling a last part in this podcast, but I'd love to see stage wins in KOM in 2024 to like wrap it up the Pinot way a bit like that, even though Pinot had quite good GC results in 2023 pretty accidentally.
Pinot was fucking good this year.
I agree.
incredible level. But yeah, I agree with you in the sense, but they need his points, Benji, and he's this team. I think we'll get into some of the other riders in a second, but I'll get in with the points here in terms of their 2023 review. They're the bottom team that isn't in the relegation zone. I know it's year one, but still, 9,102 points. Listen, AG2R are only 7 points ahead of them, and AG2R have a bigger budget, so there's probably some questions there, and they keep getting money from sponsors, but that's good, I guess. There is a decent gap of 1,900 points to Archaea, but they got Damar now, and DSM got a lot of outgoings too.
Yeah, that is true. But before we get to that, and also relevant to that, Marius Meyerhofer won the Cat 11's Great Ocean Road Race. Then they started switching between him and Dainese in Grand Tours, if I recall correctly. Welsford won a stage of the Bingo Bongo Tour this year, so that's one stage win as well. So that's 4 World Tour stage wins of those riders: Dainese, Meyerhofer, Welsford. Max Poole, pretty good. He got relatively close to a Vuelta stage, as in he finished 4th in one where Remco won, but was the last rider to drop off the wheel, if I recall correctly. Got a top 5 at Rome in the GC. I feel like that might be possible to step that up as well. Only kind of disappointed in the entire year when it comes to GC. I think depending, as a follow-up of the Pro Tour, that Pro race that he had last year, but still top 10 at Polonia and UAE with him and Harm van Hoeken. Degenkolb, top 10 at Roubaix after Mathieu van der Poel crashed him out. But 4 of those riders that had 4 of their World Tour wins of the 5, those riders are leaving. That's huge.
It's a big problem, and I know they got Poole and other young guys, but yeah, it's a big problem for next year. Their top point scorers are leaving as well. So Poole really needs to step up, and even Bardet needs to step up, and Degenkolb. But Bardet and Degenkolb are sort of 33 plus. Yep. So, and you look at these on the transfers, Benji. What's really shocking to me is they're losing all these riders, not to Jumbo Visma or UAE or Ineos or Little Trek. Yeah. They're losing them to pro Conti teams. They're losing them to Lotto teams. Destiny.
Well, yeah. It's kinda
like I wouldn't call Tudor or UnoX a development team or Lotto Destiny.
Yeah, but for those riders, I see Tudor and UnoX as a means to an end to move up later. You don't go to Tudor to stay in Tudor your entire career, right? You go to Tudor and maybe that team moves up, or after 2 years you go into a bigger team by achieving something in that team.
I think so, but I think they got good money, so I think they're pretty well pocketed. Of course, maybe Leknesund probably wants to be on a Norwegian team, maybe, and UnoX fits that bill. But yeah, like Harm van Hoeken was the weird one. They signed him, probably paying him decent money. He was on the team for 8 months and left halfway through the year, so he obviously hated it, went straight back to Lotto Destiny. And Welsford's the one where, Bora Hansgrohe, it makes sense that he would go there to replace Bennett with the lead-out they have and the equipment they have. So, yeah, they're losing 2 of their big sprinters plus Meyerhofer. It says here that that Marco Brenner's out of contract. There was rumors of him going to Tudor, but I've not heard anything about that since. And could they have not, wouldn't they want to keep Leknesund or some of these guys, Benji? I wouldn't pay Dainese.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about Van Hoeken leaving, but Meyerhofer, Leknesund, Wiedeberg, these are guys who are got some upside and they're young and they're already scoring now.
The thing I feel when it comes to DSM is that throughout the last few years, you have 2 types of riders at DSM. You've got riders that haven't broken out yet, or riders that have broken out in the past and are trying to find a second fuel in their career. And that second pack of riders, the Degenkolbs, the Bardets, the Chad Haga back in the day, those riders enjoy their time at this team. The young riders going towards their peak, like the Marco Brenners of the world, and also the Leknesunds of the world, those riders seem to stay until they have some type of breakthrough, and then they're leaving. And I feel like they don't have that middle ground in the team, right? And quite a few of these things was Marco Brenner, the story was also related to his saddle, right? I recall something to the saddle once again, because like you had the story of Søren Andersen wanting to change his satellite and then eventually leaving the team as well. But also when it comes to Brenner, that same story arrives. Like, I don't know if that's a reason or if that's just a small quarrel they have in these teams, but I feel like they missed that middle ground in the team, no?
Nah,
like,
there's no way, even without knowing the details of them and Brenner, there's no way what they've done with Brenner is correct.
Okay.
Like, you look at this kid's race schedule and the injury issues he's said he's been having and the age he is and the talent he is, and you're like, what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah.
Like, that makes no sense.
Agreed.
And so, and then he's saying, yeah, he tried to go and try and fix it himself because he had back problems, and then it sort of fixed it. Yeah, it's sort of bizarre stuff. But anyway, we'll see. There's no word yet where he ends up. So, yeah, I think the big losses are Leknersund, Welsford, and that's about it. Dainese, I wouldn't have paid him.
I don't know. Like, I wouldn't have paid him probably what he wanted after winning 2 Grand Tour stages in a year, but I still think it's a big loss. Like, the guy did earn like 800 UCI points, Welsford 950 and so forth, something like that, 990. 2,800 UCI points in those 4 riders, by the way.
Yeah.
Now, let's take a look at the riders they're bringing in, because like we said, the riders they were leaving out, but Jakobsen is joining the team. 700 UCI points in 2023, 1,100 the year before. So he has the potential of getting 1,100, 1,200s in very good years. But will he have that year at DSM? Yes, but it depends on where he can have that at DSM, which I am quite skeptical about. We can jump into that in a second. Let's first talk about the riders that are surrounding him. Timo Rosen, Liepins, we've got Bram Welten as well, Julius van den Berg, Gijs Leemreize, Frank van den Broek, Enzo Lijnse, Patrick Eddy, and Warren Barguil. Barguil, good point scorer, 800 UCI points last year. That's actually really good. So Jakobsen in his relatively bad year last year, plus Barguil last year is 1,500 points of the 2,800 that they earn back if they do that again next year. But can Jakobsen repeat that with the lead out that is already present in the team, if it's already present, or the riders that they brought in, like Bram Welten, for example, who was supposed to be the lead out for Demar, and then Demar left Groupama, and then Welten left Groupama, and what's happening?
Yeah, I think that's right. They've got Leipinge and Welten in to be that lead out for Jakobsen, to make sure they, if I would probably use Lund Andersen as a lead out as well. But yeah, if you look at the flags of who's leaving and the flags of who's coming in, it's a lot of Dutch riders. So with PostNL coming in as a sponsor, I think it's obviously it seems to be, maybe it's unrelated, but more important to have more Dutch riders in the team. And 2 of these are coming indeed from Jumbo-Visma, a fellow Dutch team. So maybe we'll see more of that theme. Maybe PostNL, they needed a marquee Dutch rider, and that's where Fabio Jakobsen fits in. He was also unhappy probably at Quick-Step, exactly how it played out this year, or not maybe at Quick-Step, but just like they did take him to the Tour, but I think he could have had a better year. I don't think he had the best lead out at all times. He also has his own problems following wheels. I'm not sure how much they're paying him, but it makes sense that if you want a Dutch Tour de France stage winner with a Dutch sponsor, not a bad guy to go and get on the market, actually. And then Patrick Eddy, also, shout out to him being brought up from the DSM development team. He used to race for Inform TM Insight Make in Australia, then Bridge Lane, and then on the dev team. So he's been slowly progressing through. I think he's from Bendigo. Strong rider, so I'll be following him obviously closely. Matthew Dinham, they brought in. He already had didn't he top 10 worlds, Dinham? The other Australian. So what else was I going to say? Oh, Barguil. Weird one. Why do they keep all these riders keep going back to X's where it ended badly, Benji?
Yes.
Sam Bennett with Bora. And I don't want to use the Patrick Lefebvre analogy, but Barguil, what was the story? Did they kick him out of the Vuelta because he didn't want to be a domestique?
Ackerman Bora? No. Did he go back to it? No, he didn't go back there. What? I'm drunk, I think. Anyway, Bennett Bora, that happened. Anyway, Bargill. The story was, if I recall, that he was in the Vuelta, if I recall correctly, and he denied team orders, no? Leading to the team throwing him out of the Vuelta, which then eventually led to him leaving the team. Am I drunk?
I think that's right. And I think
Luke
he was like...
saying... You can say it.
Luke said he didn't want to ride for Wilco. But I think Bargill was actually winning races at the Vuelta. So but yeah, anyway, he's back, so that's fine. I mean, people can make up. Rod Ellingworth with, I just listened to the cycling podcast. Another example is Rod Ellingworth with Ineos when he went to Bahrain McLaren and was there for like 8 months and then went back. So yeah, they're their incomings. We'll see how Jakobsen goes. What's realistic for this team, Benji? If they're writing down what they want to do? I think number one is there's two things that are clear to me. Number one is try and win a Tour de France stage with Jakobsen.
Yeah,
it's just obvious. And number two is score more points so you're not worried in year 3 of the relegation cycle and you can focus on developing young talents, etc. They'd be the 2 race objectives for me.
I agree. I wrote the same thing down, but in like 5 bullet points instead of like 2. As in Jakobsen to win multiple Grand Tour stages in the Tour de France, for example, or 1, whatever. But also flat sprint classics like Bemerse Classics, like Kuurne, Brussels Kuurne, those type of races. Put him in those races, put him in the Bingo Bongo Tour, whatever, to try and win some more stages as well. That kind of stuff I would do in combination with maybe milking some points in the Hungary Tour or something. Whatever. I don't know. What's the one? Is the Hungary Tour the one during the Giro? Yes, it is, right?
Yeah, normally 10th of May around there.
Yeah, okay. Bardet, top 10s in World Tour stages. But with the TDF, I kind of feel like if it's his final year, I just want to see him on TV. And then I kind of want to go for stages and KOM maybe in the Tour de France. But hey, that might happen, might not happen. Bargill, go for stage wins in World Tour races, but also rack him points in whatever races that fit for him. But I've got this overall feeling that DSM is kind of a glorified development team in World Tour. Maybe that's harsh, but I've always kind of felt that. And like a Max Poole and Oscar Onley, they haven't broken through yet completely. So the next step is that. And then I'm wondering, are they going to stay after that? Onley's on a very long contract, so he kind of has to. Poole, I actually don't know if he's out of contract or not soon. He's out of contract in 2027, so he's staying there. But then again, DSM and breaking contract early, it's also a bond at the moment. But develop young riders like Tobias Lund Andersen and Casper van Uden. Casper van Uden sent the dude to milk some chat GPT Belgian races. Tobias Lund Andersen sent the dude to the Vuelta. I'm calling it. He actually, second half of the season of this man was really bloody good. And that's noticeable with some riders. Matt Dinham, really good young rider as well, was 7th or 8th. I think it's 7th at the World Championships road race. And then I'm looking at Milesi if he stays, because that's unsure at the moment. But also Kevin Vermarke is like 23, and that dude in August and early September, that's crazy. Like he actually did some good results there.
There's a deep pool of young riders here with about 15 of them or half the team under 24 years old, or maybe 12 under 24 years old right now.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are going to break through. So Matt Dinham, could he become a really good Ardennes rider? Maybe.
No.
Oscar Onley. Could Max Poole become a really top class, go from where he is now to maybe where Uterbrooks was this year as a GC rider? Possibly.
Maybe.
But how do they keep them? That's the problem I see for this team, is they eventually have to start keeping people who break through. Because, okay, you do with Poole, right? Signed to 2027. Let's say he's on 200 a year. And then the buyout fee is then after 24, 5, 6, 7, 3 times 200k. They get 600k for Poole as the buyout.
Yeah.
Well, that's not enough. Like if he turns into a proper like podium level GC guy, you'd rather keep him. And so they need to start being able to keep guys. Now, obviously, if a team offers him 3 million euros a year, what can you do?
Yes, but quick question here. You're the lawyer man in the conversation here, and you know something about contracts. You went through the exam, so I'm hoping you know what you're talking about in those.
Well, no, the agency exam had nothing to do with rider contracts.
That's crazy. But that being said, I'm a rider on DSM. You just made the example. I'm going to make 200K for the next 5 years. Is the team forced to ditch me if someone offers the same contract value as the years I'm present? No, right? It's just the relationship was sour.
It's tricky because it also depends on the country of where the team is based and their labor laws. So you can have the UCI laws all you want and the UCI rules, but if they're contradicted by the employment legislation in the relevant country, then that's going to override the UCI rules. So I don't know exactly in reality what happens is no one wants to test it. No one wants to actually go to court mid-career to test it, because also if your rider is suing you to leave the team, it's pretty toxic, you know, if them actually performing. So in reality, it doesn't really happen. But I think it's some countries, where you'd be like, no, you signed a contract. We saw it with Remco. Obviously, a favor received by a contract. That's the contract, you know, and Ineos, doesn't matter what they come with the buyout. I can just set whatever I want. So it varies. There's no real firm answer, but usually I would assume it could be in this contract, though. Maybe I would hope if Pool's agent was just like, nah, we'll sign him to 200K, 150K a year till the end of 27. I'd be like, I mean, and there's no buyout clause, then that'd be concerning. Like it. But hopefully one of these guys come through. But they have to figure out, they have to keep these guys so that then they have riders who have been on the team for a while, who are in their peak from 25 to 28 years old. They need more of those riders who aren't earning monster money, but they're really solid, good performers, 25 to 28 years old in the prime of their career, and they can really get some good results. Maybe that's the plan. I don't know. Based on recent history, it doesn't seem like that will happen. Who's their classics leaders, Benji? Degenkolb,
I think John Degenstach. That's definitely it. Together with, I don't know, man, Niels Eekhoff, Lippens, Rosen, and some other riders. Like, they need to send Tim Naberman to some race to make Shimano happy, so send him to the classics.
Maybe I would send Dinham to RVV as well, just to see what would happen, basically. Why? I mean,
maybe
why
he
not?
turns into Jorgensen.
Just see what would happen. Watch out for Pavel Bittner maybe and Patrick Eddy in some of the classics as well. But they need to score in the classics. But Jacobsen in the flat ones. But Degenkolb can't get over a hill. Like, that's the problem. Like, let's look at his results. He was
Roubaix.
Yeah, and he was 12th in Gent-Wevelgem, 15th in Dwars-Door, 19th in Tour of Flanders. So in Dwars-Door, I guess there was a big bunch sprint behind, and his sprint wasn't that good, because that's the difference of a lot of points.
It's a weird comparison.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Where did he finish? He finished with Christoph in the 5th group in Tour of Flanders, 6 minutes back.
Called it.
So he's just not making those. He's just not making those splits anymore, except Roubaix, where he's very, very good.
He'd have to anticipate by going early into the groups that are ahead before the actual final opens up, and that's the only way they can do it. Like how Christoph did it at Dwars-Door Vlaanderen together with Lascano, that type of stuff to get better results. I see that as the possibilities, but there's not much to add to the bloody Cobble Classics, in my opinion.
Well, also on Degenkolb, he needs to have a better August and September in the semi-classics. He really needs to step up there. That part of his season was not good enough. I don't know if he had a crash or something, but he needs to do more of them and to be in the top 5 in those races. What would you send Poole to and Bardet to?
Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. I think if it's Bardet's last year, which is possible, then
yeah, Tour.
I'd want to see him at the Tour de France.
Pool
I'd want
Giro,
to see
I
him
think.
doing stages and KOM. Pool Giro, I find okay. The thing with Pool and Only is someone will have to go to the Vuelta. Bardet might do Tour Vuelta double while he's at it.
Yeah. Why not?
I have no issue with sending Pool and Only both to the Giro.
Yeah, I think Pool with the TT would be fine for him. The sight list might be soft, so that seems like I would probably send him to the Giro d'Italia. But yeah, time for over-unders. So they had 5 World Tour victories this year. How many did they have in 2022? 5 as well. But they brought Fabio in now. But is he better than Welsford? They had 5 in 2021.
We've got a pattern here.
And they were better in 2020. Yeah. So I'm going to go with... I'm going to go with 5.
I was going to do the same. We can't do the same.
5.
I'm going to go with 4 then. And my hot take is that Tobias Lund Andersen will win more Grand Tour stages than Fabio Jakobsen. Because I think they'll send him to the Vuelta.
Oh, if he goes to the Vuelta.
His last part of the season. Top 3s at Gris, Tour of Guangxi and so forth.
Yeah. I'm just not sure though.
Podium of Vuelta stage, for sure.
I agree. No, he can. He can win one. But I think they'll send him to the semi-classics instead of the Vuelta.
Probably.
That's the problem with that. I think Fabio wins a Tour de France stage.
That's not a hot take.
Okay, I think he wins all of their World Tour races. I thought you were
going to say. I thought you were going to say that Fabio wins all the Tour de France stages.
No, I don't think he climbs well enough. That's a hot take. Fabio Jakobsen can't climb very well. Okay. That was the team dsm-firmenich PostNL preview. I'm hoping, especially with personally the couple of the young Australians, pick up Dinham and Eddie and co. And I'm keen to watch them. And indeed, they are still developing really, really good young riders. But I hope there's some introspection at management level during this off season that maybe they don't do everything perfectly, and what can we do to change things so that we keep these guys or people aren't leaving all the time?
I still vividly remember that Out of Touch interview with, I think, Willer Flitz or Sportza from the management back in the day. And that was so rough that I've lost all hope in the management self-evaluating their issues at DSM. That being said, their women's team, I'm full on hype there.
Yeah. The women's team with Pfeiffer Georgie and co. and Jastrab. Yeah, very, very good. But anyway, that's the dsm-firmenich PostNL preview. I've now got it going finally after 30 minutes, and we'll see you with Movistar next. Until then, ciao.